What's up, y'all? The snackies plates are ready. They're hungry for some spores. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to germinate some spores in swab, print, and syringe form, as well as do a little bit of chasing of some rhizomorphic mycelium. I'm going to show you what you should look for, how you should transfer it, and why you should do it. Check out the video. Much love. Spores. They come in all different shapes and sizes, as well as varieties. You can get them in different forms, such as a spore print, spore syringe, and a spore swab. Now all of these spore types have different forms of inoculation. One you may be able to do with one, you may not be able to do with another. And today, I'm going to show you how to inoculate all of those forms of swabs, prints, and syringes so you can start growing some healthy gourmet mycelium. Some items you're going to need to do genetic work and spore germination. Starting from the right, moving left. A bottle of 70% isopropyl alcohol, some paper towels, a Thermohelix, a Sharpie, a blade of some sort, and that's a surgical blade, number 11 blade with a number 3 handle, an inoculation loop, a torch. So the reason why we use a torch and a Thermohelix is because the Thermohelix cannot heat up the inoculation loop. So we use that strictly for our blades and heat up the inoculation loop with the torch. Some gloves, spore print, spore syringe, or spore swab, dealer's choice, and some sterile agar dishes, however you want to pronounce it. A flow hood, and I like to use these little stands, and it just heightens up my workspace so I'm closer to the middle of the flow hood where I get the cleanest air. Because we want to be sterile, don't forget. Before we start our work, we always turn off the AC and turn on your flow hood. I always let my flow hood run about 15 to 20 minutes before I work, so that just allows it to scrub the air of the room that I'm working in, make it all squeaky clean. We always wipe down the whole entire work environment with 70% isopropyl alcohol, including the surface of the flow hood. But never spray your flow hood with alcohol. Spray a paper towel and wipe the surface. This ensures we have a clean environment to do our genetic work in. Today's lab snack is Skittles. Sour Skittles. Taste the rainbow. Spore swabs. What they are is sterile swabs with a spore of a mushroom on the tip. And this is how we inoculate agar dishes with them. One of two ways that I use. Either the swirly Z method, zigzag method, or the dunk method. Either way, before you do either one, always remember, wipe your hands with isopropyl alcohol first. I like to push the swabs up from the bottom of the package. It gives me easier access to the stick. Take one out of the package. Personally, I like to hold it a little further down. So we're going to do the zigzag method first. We're going to take the swab and quite literally spin and do a zigzag. What this does is disperses the swab, or the spores on the swab, throughout the plate. It might be hard to see, but you can see the Z that we did. Then we're just going to back on and wait for germination. Mind you, this spore swab is from probably 2020. So there's no saying what we're gonna get. And for the dunk method, we're just gonna take the spore swab, break it off the closest tip as you can. Take the lid off the dish and just quite literally dunk the swab right into the middle of the dish. Carefully place the lid back on. And with this method, the spores just start germinating around the center where you dunked it in, as long as there's no contamination in the swab. I guess we'll see. But that is how you inoculate a dish with a spore swab. Spore syringes. Sterile tubes, or tubes of sterile water with spores mixed in. There's, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of spores in this one tube alone. This spore syringe was supplied by Oklahoma Fungi. Look at that. That is beautiful. Nice and dark. You can see that purple tip. Now I'm going to show you how to inoculate an agar dish with a spore syringe. First things first. First things first. Wipe your hands off with isopropyl alcohol. What we're going to do is just open up the point needle just like that, so we're not touching it. And then we're going to take off the tip of the syringe. Place that down. Now that this needle is attached to the syringe, we carefully, I use my thumbs and just pop. Oh, crap. Let's redo that. Alright, now we're on. And we're off. Just pop my thumbs off like that. See, my thumbs are so strong, just ripped it out. Just kidding. So how we do this is we take the lid off, put it down, don't drop it like I did. And then what we're going to do is just put a little bit of the spore solution on the plate. Swirl it around. That's all you need, just a couple of drops. Technically, the more you put, I guess the higher chance of inoculation you get. But, do it again. Put a little puddle, and then swirl it around the dish. What that does is spreads the spores that's in the syringe around the dish, giving you more points of inoculation. We're going to do 3 of these dishes. We got some spores. You can even see a spore on that dish. Now afterwards, take the dishes, wrap them up, label them with variety you used and what date you did it, and wait for the spore germination to happen. Inoculating an agar dish with a spore print. What you're going to need is a torch, an inoculation loop, which is this little handle, and a little metal rod that has a hoop on it. Some agar dishes, and a spore print. This spore print was supplied by Basidium Equilibrium. So what we're going to do is, we're going to heat up the tip of the inoculation loop till it's red hot. Never use your torch towards the glow hood. You don't want to burn it. Go up, shoot it off to the side. Then we're going to cool it down in the dish. We're going to grab our print. We're going to scrape off some spores. This is a lot of spores we're scraping off. We're going to dunk it back in the dish. Put back the lid. And we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So we're going to grab our loop, grab the torch, heat up the loop, cool it down in the plate. Grab your print, scrape off some spores, put it back into the dish, and move to the next plate. Grab the torch, heat up the loop, take off the lid, cool down the loop, let the lid down, grab your print. Somehow scrape off some spores. Put it back into the plate. Put on the lid. Then we're going to label it with the variety and the date we did that. Next up on the list is isolating rhizomorphic mycelium. You know what we do? We spray those hands with ISO before we work. So how do we isolate rhizomorphic mycelium? Well, first we got to get the lid open. Alright, so here's the dish. Now, you can see right here at about 1 o'clock, got some little fingers. That's rhizomorphic mycelium. That's the kind of growth that I'm going to be chasing so I can get even thicker ropes that grow more. Now, while this plate is all beautiful and ready to use, the whole point of isolating rhizomorphic growth is to single out traits of the mycelium that you like the look of. So that is why we're going to be cutting little squares out of there and placing them on new agar dishes. This blade is slightly overgrown. Usually you'll see all of the traits you want at around 80% growth. But it's still fine, and we're still going to be able to get some beautiful work out of it. We're going to do, we're going to grab our blade. I guess first we should open up some plates. I don't know what I do without my pink scissors. Stack of beautiful plates right here. These plates were made with Verona strawberry cookies and a couple of gushers for those who haven't watched the first video. So, take our blade. Now it has a certain way it goes in, and honestly, I get it right about 50% of the time. But I can assure you, both ways work. One just looks uglier. Boom. got the blade in right there, and it's now attached to the handle. We're going to place that on our Thermohelix. Grab this blade. Now that's already sterile. I kind of count it as a freebie, so I'm not going to sterilize the first go. We'll see how it goes. Take that. Boom. That's all you need. Just a little piece of mycelium. Boom. Stick it out on the agar dish. Put our lid back on. Give it a little wipe off with the fingies. Now you get to see the Thermohelix in action. That was red hot. Boom. Cool off the blade. Grab the culture. Get the next cut in. When you're doing genetic isolation, you don't need a lot of mycelium. The smallest bit will be just fine. Repeat that with all of these plates. Heat up the blade till it's red hot. Pull down the blade with your dish. Grab your agar dish. We're just going to grab a little slice from here. We're going to cut a little triangle. Bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. Put it back, put it on the dish. Shout out to Basidium Equilibrium for the culture as well. Once you finished all the plates, do the same thing. Label them, the variety, the transfer number. This will be transfer number 1 from the original plate, and the date you've done it. Right here. We'll take a little piece of that. That's how to chase mycelium, rhizomorphic mycelium from an isolated agar dish. So don't forget to label, transfer number, date, and variety. Boom. Don't be a scumbag Steve and throw away your needles and blades into the trash. Get a sharps container and use that. To seal your plates, you're going to use parafilm or the heat wrap method, and that is shown in the previous video.